Democracy, a system meant to give power to the people, a promise that every citizen has a voice, a vote, and a chance to shape the future of their country. But behind that promise, there's a reality that most people don't see, a darker, more disturbing truth. Because in today's world, democracy doesn't always work the way it should. It's not always about the will of the people, it's about the will of the powerful. Think about it. Who really gets to stand in the elections? Who gets the airtime, the headlines, the glossy campaigns, the giant rallies? It's rarely the humble, honest leader who fight for real change. It's the well-funded politician backed by businessmen, corporations, and invisible network of influence. Money speaks louder than ideals, and those who fund the elections aren't doing it out of generosity. They invest in politics like they invest in business, expecting a return. A return in the form of favorable laws, government contracts, tax benefits, or silence when corruption needs to be ignored. This is where democracy starts to rot from within. True leaders, the ones who challenge the system, who stand for justice, transparency, and the actual welfare of the people, struggle to even enter the race. They are ignored, suppressed, or simply outspent. Because they don't serve the interest of the rich, they can't be controlled, and in the game, that makes them a threat. And then there is media, the supposed watchdog of democracy. But most of the time, the media isn't watching the powerful, it's working for them. The news we see, the stories we hear, the headlines that share public opinion, they're often filtered, edited, and influenced by those who own that platform. And who owns the media? Again, businessmen, corporations, and power players with a stake in keeping things just the way they are. So when elections come, we don't see all the choices. We only see the ones they want us to see. We don't hear every voice. We only hear the loudest ones, amplified by money and media. That's not real democracy. That's a rigged game with the illusion of freedom. This video series is about attacking democracy. It's about exposing how it's being manipulated, hijacked, and hollowed out. Because until we see these truths, we can't fix anything. The next part, we will go deeper into how powerful businessmen and corporations influence elections, silently but effectively, reshaping democracy to serve their own interest. But first, understand this. Democracy isn't broken because people failed it. It's being broken because power refuses to let it work. Stay with me. Now, let's talk about elections, the heart of any democracy, the process where the people choose their leaders. At least that's what we are told. But if we really look closely, we will see that elections are not just about the votes. They are about money, influence, control, and in most cases, they are already decided long before the first ballot is cast. Let me explain. To run a serious political campaign today, a candidate needs massive funding. We are talking millions in advertisements, media coverage, travel, events, teams of strategists, digital campaigns, influencers, the list goes on. And where does that money come from? It doesn't come from ordinary citizen. It comes from powerful businessmen, corporations, and lobbying groups. These entities don't just donate, they invest. And just like any investment, they expect something in return. They choose the candidate who will protect their interest, those who will cut taxes for the rich, loosen regulations, allow shady deals, or simply stay silent when war doings happens. They don't want reformers, they don't want rebels, they want puppets in suits, polished, obedient, and market-friendly. And here is the worst part. Once a candidate accepts this money, they are trapped. They owe favors. They can't speak freely. They can't act independently. They become part of a system where the true decision makers are sitting in boardrooms, not parliament halls. So what happens to the honest leader, the one who wants to clean up the system, the one who refuses to cooperate money and speaks uncomfortable truths. They got crushed. Without funding, they can't run effective campaigns. They don't have media support. They get mocked as unelectable or too idealistic or not practical. The system isolates them. Sometimes even their own party shuts them down because one rebel can make the whole corrupt machine look bad. In a real democracy, leadership should rise from merit, vision, and integrity. But in today's democracy, leadership often rises from money, branding, and loyalty to the elite. And it gets worse because once in power, these leaders return the favor. They pass laws that protect the rich, privatize public services, and ignore the voice of the poor. Democracy becomes a business deal, power traded for protection. This isn't just a flaw, it's a disease in the system, one that keeps the powerful in control while pretending that the people have chosen their fate. And yet, the public doesn't even see it because the media keeps the spotlight on distractions, debates, scandals, and scripted dramas. It all feels real, urgent, democratic, but behind the scenes, the real game is being played with money and influence. Next part, we'll talk about how the media, the so-called guardian of democracy, has become one of the biggest tools of manipulation used to shape opinions, destroy reputations, and control the narrative. Because when money controls the candidate and the media tells you who to trust, how much freedom do you really have? In any functioning democracy, the media is supposed to act as a watchdog, a force that keeps the powerful in check, informs the public, and protects the truth. But today, the role is no longer being played. Instead of guarding democracy, the media has become one of the main weapons used to destroy it from within. Ask yourself, who owns the media? Look at the biggest news networks, newspapers, TV channels, and digital platforms. Most of them are owned or heavily influenced by large corporations and billionaires. The same kind of people who fund political campaigns, cut secret deals, and control industries. They control what we see, what we hear, and ultimately what we believe. It doesn't happen with lies shouted from rooftops. It happens slowly, subtly, and skillfully. When an election comes, the media decides who gets attention and who gets ignored. They frame certain candidates as strong, capable, or safe, and others as radical, inexperienced, or divisive. Even when they don't say it directly, they do it through tone, repetition, and selective reporting. They will air hour-long speeches of one candidate and reduce another to a 5-second clip taken out of context. They will turn a real issue into a controversy, then focus on that controversy for weeks until the real topic is buried and forgotten. And when a true leader rises, someone who speaks with honesty, challenges this status quo, and threatens the comfort of the rich, the media machine activates. Suddenly, that leader is labeled anti-national, too aggressive, too emotional, or simply not serious. Their past is dragged into the spotlight, their character is questioned, their voice is drowned in noise, and the public, unaware of the manipulation, turns away from the one person who might have made a difference. That's how powerful the media is. It doesn't just report the story, it becomes the story. It doesn't just reflect society, it reshapes it. This manipulation is so deep, most people don't even notice it. They think they are making informed choices, but in reality, their choices are being filtered, sculpted, and served on a plate by someone else. And when you control the narrative, you control the people. It's not violence, it's not dictatorship, it's influence, quiet, calculated, and devastating. Now imagine this entire system working together. The rich fund politicians, the media promotes them, and the people unknowingly support their own oppression. That's not democracy. That's control wearing the mask of freedom. In the next part, we will look at the most tragic outcome of the system. How true leaders, the ones who genuinely want to serve the people, are kept out of power. silenced or destroyed before they even get the chance to lead. Because when a system fears honesty more than corruption, something is deeply wrong. So far, we have seen how money funds the elections, how media shapes the narrative, and how the public opinion is manipulated. But there is one more piece of this puzzle: the systematic destruction of the honest leaders. You see, the biggest threat to a corrupt system is not an enemy, it's an honest man inside it. Real leaders, the ones who actually care about the people, who refuse to be bought, who speak uncomfortable truths, they are dangerous to the status quo because they can't be controlled. They don't play by the script, and worst of all, they inspire others to think, question, and rise. And that's exactly why they are silenced. Sometimes it's done quietly. They are ignored by the media. Their speeches aren't broadcasted. Their interviews are edited. Their rallies are downplayed. Their messages are twisted. The public barely know they exist, or worse, believes lies about them. Sometimes it's more brutal. Fake scandals are created. Old footage is misused. They are labeled as unstable, unqualified, or corrupt without any proof. Legal cases are filed, threats are made, they are harassed, humiliated, or even forced to step down. And in some cases, they are removed completely by any means necessary. Why? Because these leaders talk about justice, about accountability, about breaking the monopoly of power. They talk about raising the voice of the poor, regulating the rich, fixing the media, and removing corruption. But all of that threatens the very foundation on which the current power structure stands. It's not just the political parties that fear these leaders, it's the entire ecosystem. The donors, the corporation, the media, the bureaucrats, even some voters who have been trained to fear change. And let's not forget, honest leaders don't usually have access to massive funds. They don't accept shady donations. They rely on people's support. But without media attention or campaign infrastructure, their message gets buried under the noise of the lies and drama. So the system does what it always does. It suffocates what it can't control. And yet these leaders keep trying. They rise from grassroots. They go door to door. They fight legal battles. They speak even when no one listens. Because their mission isn't power, it's purpose. And that's something no money can buy. But how long can they fight alone? How many good leaders have we lost? Not because they failed the people, but because the system failed them. This is the true tragedy of modern democracy. The best leaders are never allowed to lead. In the final part, we'll talk about what can actually be done. Can democracy still be saved, or are we too far gone? Because awareness is important, but action is everything. So, after everything we have seen, the control of elections by money, the manipulations of minds by media, and the silencing of true leaders, it's fair to ask, is democracy beyond saving? The truth is harsh, but not hopeless. Because the strength of democracy was never meant to come from money or power. It was always supposed to come from people, from awareness, from participation, from the courage to speak, to think, to demand better. But that strength has been sleeping for too long. To reclaim democracy, we first need to see it clearly from what it has become. Not the fantasy we are taught in school, but the flawed, corrupted versions that plays out in front of us every election season. Change begins with the truth, and truth begins with awareness. We must start by breaking the control of money over politics. That means demanding laws for transparent political funding, setting limit on campaign expense, and creating systems where public funds, not private billionaires, support candidates. Next, we must free the media. That doesn't mean censoring it. It means making it accountable. We need independent media watchdogs, strong public broadcasters, and legal protection for real journalism, not propaganda machines owned by rich. And most importantly, we need to stop waiting for heroes. True democracy isn't about waiting for one good leader to save it. It's about all of us becoming part of the process. Support independent voices, share real stories, question everything, vote with your conscience and not with fear or noise. And if you can, run for office, organize your community, educate others. Change doesn't come overnight, it doesn't come easy, but it always starts with people who refuse to accept things as they are. The system won't fix itself, it was never designed to. But we, ordinary people, still have the numbers, the voice, and the right to challenge it. Because democracy isn't a trophy that sits on a shelf, it's a fight, a responsibility, a promise we have to keep renewing every single day. And if we don't, then we will keep watching the wrong people win, while the right ones are pushed aside. We will keep watching the media shape our thoughts, while the truth gets buried. We will keep pretending we are free, while we live under the invisible chains. But if we choose differently, if we rise, then maybe, just maybe, democracy can still be what it was meant to be. Not a show, not a game, but a real government, by the people, for the people, and truly for the people. The choice is ours.